spells PowerCast. Sponsored by thepowermagazine.com, howmuchyourbench.net, and BSN, makers of NO Explode. Look for BSN products at bodybuilding.com. Alongside Silent Mike and Jim McD, here's your host, Mark Bell.
Yeah, with the intro.
There's not enough knee room here. Like, we're all really
You can't.
close.
Oh, you can't externally rotate.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Kelly
Messing up your external rotation.
Even Kelly Starrett didn't bitch about that.
Yeah,
Well,
we
I-
were pretty crammed in at Mark's house.
Yeah, we were. Wasn't this table?
Crammed in.
I sit externally rotated, but my shoulders just sit here internally rotated.
Oh, that's
so,
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm balanced out to being horrible.
It's because of those big boobies.
Well, you
They
know,
just
Does
drag
that
you forward.
Does that balance you out or make you worse?
I don't know.
I'll try
That's a good
internal here
question.
and
External here.
Yeah, there you go.
that's
Oh,
kinda
now you
nice.
look great.
Squishes my.
Now you're
nuts a little
homosexual.
bit.
You fit right in.
Yeah,
Well, I was gonna say I don't fit in here. I like girls. A girl.
that is weird.
Yeah. I know.
Where is that?
Heterosexual,
Where is that
and
chick?
I don't
What's up with Stephanie Alderman?
Well, I think you guys tried to get her on the show, but she turned you down, so you got to settle for me.
Yeah, that's true.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, she's a 10. You're like a 4. I mean,
Steph Iron Mile. She's a 10 for sure.
yeah. How'd you work that
But
alcohol?
I appreciate you saying I'm a 4. No. The key is you have to get married real young before they realize they can do
they're
much
like,
better.
oh, they
Okay.
realize that
Yeah,
there's
so
a lot
that's
of
what I do with my
opportunities out there.
Choke up, as Mark
Yeah.
likes to say. Think of
Oh,
it
choke
as,
up on the mic. All right.
Think of it as.
Now we're talking.
Now
There you
we're
go.
talking.
Just
Yeah,
imagine
now-
you're the
now.
Rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think of those CrossFit locker rooms
There
you've
you
been
go.
in before.
There's the eyebrow.
Wait,
There's
what?
the eyebrow.
What the hell?
The
What
Rock
are you talking about?
Did you see the picture The Rock posted the other day? It was like his first match against Triple H.
Can you
or
do the
something.
people's eyebrow?
Oh, the flying like Superman
Oh
he
my
did
God,
with,
he was
with
so
the haircut
jacked.
and everything.
That was amazing.
Oh yeah, where he's jumping with his feet back behind him. He's super athletic. He's
Yeah.
insane.
You know, every now and then people tell me I look like him, and I'm like, I look at a picture like that, and I'm like, I don't look like this guy.
You're not
Yeah.
6'5".
You know, I can do
Yeah,
this.
280.
Oh, you can do it. No,
Yeah,
right there.
you got
Now
it.
you look like him.
Focus.
You look a little bit like him.
Well, thanks.
It's those beautiful brown eyes of yours, I think.
Yeah.
Does he have brown eyes?
I think so.
Okay.
It's all about the face.
I don't know.
I didn't realize I had brown eyes.
Anyway, peeps, if we are recording, indeed,
We are indeed recording.
we are here today with Ben Alderman, the owner of Iron Mile Gym. He's a CrossFitian. He's been doing CrossFit for about 3-4 years now.
5 years.
5 years, bam. And he's finished 7th the last 2 years in a row at CrossFit Regionals.
Irritating.
And he's somebody, what's that?
Irritating.
Yeah, irritating.
Consistency.
But hey, it is what it is.
Lucky number 11.
And
better than 8.
he's somebody that I've worked with here at Super Training for a long time. We work on some powerlifting movements here and there, just to give him some leverage on some of the other athletes to help get him more strongerest. And one thing we want to kind of talk about starting off here with the podcast is a comment made by Pat Sherwood. He put it up on Twitter. Pat Sherwood is an awesome CrossFitter.
Yeah,
and,
who is Pat Sherwood?
You might know, probably better than us.
And how many
But I know he's a good.
Pats?
I know he's a good CrossFitter.
There's like 5 famous Pats in
Pats.
CrossFit.
Yeah, you got like Pat Barber, you
Yeah,
got Pat
and
Sherwood, and
there's another.
Pat.
Is
I
Pat
don't know.
Burke a
Patrick
football player or
Burke?
something, or is that a
No,
CrossFitter?
Patrick Burke is a solid CrossFitter as well.
See?
I think he's out of like the Southwest,
How
somewhere
many-
Colorado, Utah, something like
How
that.
many Instagram followers does he have?
I don't know.
He's
How
not
many,
famous.
Probably
how many
more than me.
followers did
Because
you
that's
pick
how
up
it's
today? Did
measured
you pick
now.
up like 1 or 2 today with your workout that you did by yourself?
No. I think I'm tapped out. I've topped out at like around 5,000. I don't think I'm going to get any more.
Oh man, I think maybe a couple people listening can just click on the follow button.
At _Ben.
There you go.
Cheesy, cheap plugs.
You just got 60,000 new followers.
Yeah, the underscore tricks people up.
Yeah, I
man.
know the
That's
underscore.
why they're
That's the
not signing
hang up
up.
right there.
Yeah, well, whatever.
So anyway, Pat Sherwood, whoever the heck he is, I slightly know him a little bit, but he is a CrossFitter and he's a pretty good CrossFitter at that, right?
Yeah, he actually programs quite a bit. He's
okay.
He's a good
very
CrossFit
knowledgeable.
mind. He is.
He's kind of jacked, yeah?
Yeah, he's an old school CrossFitter, like one of the original guys.
Ah.
OG. I'd
That's
say he's an
important.
OG,
That's
for
important
sure.
to know.
Yeah.
So he made a comment the other day, and I just thought it was interesting. He said, some have convinced themselves they need strength or OLE-based programming when they actually need to improve everything, a.k.a. do CrossFit. So, what do you think about a comment like that? And what's kind of some of your theories and some of the things you've seen?
Well, I think that in some ways, Pat is right on. A lot of people really want to be strong, and they didn't know how to be strong until they found CrossFit. They didn't know about powerlifting. they only saw bodybuilding and it was all about, being tan, being lean, whatever, wearing
so
Speedos.
stupid.
Yeah, dumb.
Being all jacked.
Who wants to be that ripped? I mean, really.
Seriously.
But then they kind of fall in love with the strength ladder. I mean, that's a cool event at any CrossFit
Right.
competition. Who wins the snatch ladder? Who wins the clean and jerk ladder? Who pulls the most on a deadlift? Everybody wants to be good with that because that's what everybody remembers.
You actually broke a record in, what was it? Was it a snatch? Some form of a snatch? Right?
Yeah, I held the event world record for about 15 minutes.
And what did that get you?
I think it was good for like 50 Instagram followers.
Oh, there you go. There
Yeah,
you go.
right.
Excellent.
Yep.
Congratulations. And an invisible
excellent.
balloon from supertraining.tv.
Yep. And my kids got to run around and tell everybody that I was stronger than Rich Froning. And I'm like, oh gosh, Rich, I'm sorry.
The embarrassment.
I happen to hang snatch more than Rich Froning in this particular event, but I don't know if there's a single lift that I actually beat Rich in. So
He's a gamer.
Yeah, Rich is the best. So, but a lot of people want to be strong, and I think that because of that, people get kind of carried away, and they need to
Right.
be stronger, and that's their deficiency. It's the only one they see because it's so visible in every single CrossFit competition.
I guess one thing that some of the people are probably anxious about and they want to get stronger is that they feel like maybe they're doing so many different things, they don't have time to really just focus on the strength. But I guess Pat Sherwood's, what he's basically saying here is that you can get much stronger just through programming of CrossFit.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that? Do you feel that's been true for yourself and some of the people you've worked with?
Yeah, absolutely. I think CrossFit does make people stronger. I think that programming done right can take the average person and make them exceptionally strong. I think when you have a specialized like CrossFit competitor,
Right.
somebody who's just that's their focus, somebody like myself or somebody like we mentioned Rich or somebody like
Or
Jason
me.
Aklepa, right?
Mark
Both
Bell.
those guys have accomplished a lot more than me, but those type of people, they may have deficiencies that they've carried with them throughout their training, and because of that, they might need to address some strength issues, maybe through deadlifting more or squatting
I
more.
don't have any weaknesses anymore. Who said that?
Well, I don't know.
Arnold.
The overhead
Ar-
squat.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh.
I don't have any weaknesses anymore. That's
Yeah.
the greatest quote of all time.
He's
I would
so
love
good.
that. Yeah.
I think I need Patty Sherwoody to give us some clarification. Because like you just said, like Rich Froning can
Well, it's-
do a 6 weeks of specialization because he can handstand walk a mile. So yeah, maybe he could work on a snatch for 6 weeks.
Sure.
But like someone that's just beginning, maybe not. Or
Rich
maybe,
Froning's actually a good example, though, because he's somebody who has gotten stronger the whole way through.
Yeah.
People have followed his career quite a bit. He's gotten stronger nearly on every single lift that there is, whether it's just 5 pounds or 10 pounds a year. He has gotten stronger while maintaining everything else too.
Well, that's one thing he does. He actually he said on in one of his interviews that he
Not that
picks
you're a stalker.
No, of course not. Why would I care what Rich Froning
Yeah,
does?
why would I stalk him too
Yeah.
and look at pictures of him outside the pool all ripped and stuff? That would be weird.
Yeah, only watch his swimming videos.
Jesus. So,
Thank you, Jesus. If you're listening,
so
#1 subscriber.
Yeah.
he's got his ears covered right now.
So Rich will jump on a deadlift cycle, or like where he just follows like a some sort of programming, like a 6-week program to improve his deadlift, and then he'll maybe do a squat cycle and some sort of training cycle that he implements into his CrossFit just to make sure that he's doing something with some sort of progress. And so
How
I
do you
think
do
that's
something like CrossFit without trying to attack everything all the time, or is that what you need to do? You need to just attack everything all the time and train 10 hours a day.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what you need to
So
do.
you
in
need
some
to
ways.
work yourself up to a pace where you can handle something.
Yeah, you've got to be able to handle
That's greater
volume
than what
by
you're
doing a lot of
Frequency.
workouts, a lot of frequency, because there are so many skills you have to be good at. A lot of the best guys, I mean, really, if you take somebody like a Jason Klepa or a Rich Froning, those guys are training a lot because they have to work on so many different things. They're eating a lot of food. They're training a lot. They're making sure they get in the gym. They have gyms at their home. They have gyms at their gym. They have gyms when they travel.
I just came back
They have
from
gyms at their gym?
They have gyms at their gym.
Gyms
Like
on
that?
gyms
Well,
on
I saw
gyms.
Gyms on gyms.
Jason Khalipa with a squat rack in the back of his truck. He's like going on vacation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
I
the
know.
greatest thing I've ever seen.
that's amazing.
I know that you can't get away from it. If you want to be a good CrossFitter, you
That's
have to
amazing.
work smarter and harder.
I know CrossFit, or I think that it's kind of all enveloping, and when people outsiders, quote unquote, hear CrossFit, they think you're just running a mile every day and doing handstand push-ups every 10 steps or whatever, something stupid. And
I just did that this morning.
yeah, the truth is,
Stand on your head.
you know, talking to you and talking to Kalipa and how you guys form your training is, you know, some kind of conditioning in the morning or whatever. I'm making all this up. Some kind of strength workout, some kind of Oli workout, and some kind of all-enveloping actual CrossFit workout,
Skill or something like
Metcon-y
that.
or something like that. It's not like you're just.
Well, Kalipa even flip-flopped it. Like, remember,
Yeah.
he said he rotated it. He
Which
had
is-
a specific thing to focus on one day, and the next day the focus would change.
Right.
But the other stuff was still in there.
Right.
You know, he still did all the other
Like when
things.
Ben comes to super training, comes here, he squats heavy, he deadlifts heavy, and then on his own that night he'll go for a run or whatever. Like it's
How often
you can
do
separate it up.
How often do you only work out like once a week, or once a day?
Once a day.
Yeah. Like just one workout for 1 hour or something. Does that ever happen?
Wow. That hasn't happened in a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
I took 2 days off after regionals, and that Wednesday I was back in the gym doing a double day. And regionals was 7 workouts in 3 days, and so I took 2 days off, which is just like a weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
And then just jump back in and start
then,
doing
like,
double days. And that's actually light for me sometimes.
Yeah,
and double days pretty easy.
before regionals, you like blew out your O-ring or something, right?
Yeah, before regionals, yeah, I had my uterus removed. No, I had my appendix taken out 9 days before the Open started. So February 19th, I think it was. I had to get emergency surgery to have my appendix taken
brutal.
out. Yeah, wasn't supposed to be able to do the Open, but managed to do it. Qualify better than I
You
ever
couldn't
have.
really move through your abdomen much. You couldn't do much with your core, right?
I couldn't do
Deadlifts
anything.
and toes to bar and all that stuff was out of the question for a while, right?
So
Yeah.
how scary was that when the symptoms came on and you didn't necessarily know right away what the story was?
He thought it was just gas or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty stupid, so I just went right onto WebMD and I started putting in the symptoms, and lo and behold, the first thing that comes up is you have appendicitis, and I stayed at home for another 8 hours and tried to sleep,
Yeah.
even though they said that
Sleep this appendicitis
yeah, I'm gonna
off.
sleep
It's
it
just
off,
gonna
right?
rub off.
And then in the morning,
You walk it off.
More NyQuil.
yeah, more NyQuil, and then by 4 o'clock in the morning, it's like, this is excruciating, and I think I passed out from pain. Woke up at 9,
wow.
and headed to the doctor because my wife is, you know, she's smarter than I am. She figured it out in about 15 minutes. So
Yeah.
you need to go to the doctor. Oh, okay, cool. And I get there, and there you have it. We're gonna rip your appendix out.
My older son had that happen when he was visiting his girlfriend in
my
South
God.
Korea,
Woo.
and he
been a
was
nightmare.
Yeah, he was online with our younger son saying, is mom there? Is dad there? Somebody else there at the house? I was like, no, nobody's else is home right now. I said, well, I have a fever, and I think that my stomach is really hurting, and I'm afraid that I may have appendicitis. And he hung out for quite a while trying to figure out whether or not, you know, that was really what the story was. And then
Fried Korean food.
Yeah.
Exactly, or
Yeah,
whatever.
that would
yeah,
F
but
you
like,
all up.
It's like, yeah, but this feels different than anything I've ever felt before. And he ended up going to the hospital, and they wouldn't treat him. And he went to another hospital that also wouldn't treat him. And finally, his girlfriend had to get the U.S. Embassy on the line.
Oh my God.
Have the embassy.
Tax dollars at work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where he wanted to work, though.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
My
But it
stomach's
was
starting to hurt with this conversation.
scary,
Yeah.
scary
This
bit.
sucks.
But
I thought he just blew out his O-ring.
Well,
Like,
the crazy thing is when my stomach hurts now, it's like, oh, what is it? 'Cause
Yeah.
my appendix is already taken
yeah,
out.
it's not your
so
appendix. Whatever it is, it's not your.
how
appendix.
long was that surgery? Were you in the hospital for more than a day?
Surgery was 2.5 hours, and I had gotten there around 10:30, and I stayed until about 2 o'clock the next day.
Yeah.
So there you have it. I was on a diet of morphine and
hospital's-
ice chips.
Yeah, the hospital's brutal. Even being there just for one day, like just
So
being
horrible.
overnight is weird. you know?
Horrible. And the guy next to me, because I had to share a room, you know, feel bad for him. He's a little bit older guy, and he's having, I guess they're called night shades or something like that, where you kind of get delusional at
Right.
nighttime. And so my wife, she stayed with me, but she ended up doing a lot of helping for this guy because the
Yeah,
nursing
nobody else,
staff
yeah.
couldn't get
Yeah,
around.
couldn't
Guy's
keep-
ripping out his IV, falling off the
Ah.
bed.
And he didn't have any family members there or anything.
No,
like that, right?
and then his family member came, and then, you know, they're all upset at the staff, and well,
the
whatever. It's
the
just
object
crazy.
lesson is if you have a family member in the hospital and you need to figure out how to have somebody
Yeah, or a
covering-
friend, you know?
or
Try to-
somebody needs
people
to be
try to
covering
visit.
all the time.
Yeah.
Don't I mean
Absolutely.
as good as a hospital might be, they can't see everything, they can't do everything. They actually
Mm-hmm.
kind of expect that kind of help. My wife's a nurse, so I hear these stories all the time.
Oh.
You yeah, exactly. That
I'm
you're-
against all doctors.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know, but sometimes, every once in a while, you need those suckers.
Julie Fouché is a doctor. Do you know who that is?
Oh, I do.
Yeah. So
Oh, are you kidding?
So you change your tune.
Yeah. Do you know who Julie Fouché is?
I do.
She's from my hometown, or family's hometown.
okay, so now you like doctors?
So now we're basically
Now he
dating.
loves doctors.
Okay.
He, changed,
Okay.
he changed his whole outlook.
Change the story.
You know, you bearing a
Duke
Julie's
Hauser
our
is a
number.
doctor.
Oh, I love him too.
Duke, yeah. See? Dude.
What was that
Bones
song?
on Star Trek?
And then he's just typing away. That
You
was
know-
the most
you
annoying.
know who Bones on Star Trek is?
No, I hate Star Trek. I love
Oh
Star
my
Wars.
gosh. Get out of here.
Mark
you-
likes Star Wars too.
Oh, I love Star Wars.
Yeah, Star
I'm a
Trek.
nerd.
I don't like Star Trek though, except the
I
new
don't
movies.
know much about Star
The
Trek.
new movies are cool.
I love everything about Star Trek. I always have.
I'm with you.
I'm trying to see the new Planet of the Apes though.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh my.
Yeah, those kind of
Caesar?
movies, they look good for just a couple minutes. Though.
That movie's so
you know,
good.
they only look good for a few minutes, though, but then they fall apart. Even like the new Transformers, like it's gonna be good for like 10
Yeah.
minutes. It's
I
fun
hope
to
it's
take
good
your
longer
kids
than
to.
that.
I think Transformers is a little faker. That's
Yeah.
why you're like, oh,
I
that's
don't
cool,
know.
and then
You
it
think
looks
the
so
apes
animated. The
are really
apes
gonna take over?
They look real.
That's
think they might?
real? That's
That-
more real than Transformers.
Well,
I'm
the old
saying
apes looked
visually.
real. In the original
I mean,
Planet of the Apes, they looked real
Well, 'cause
because
they were
real.
they were real.
They were people.
They're
yeah.
just
I
hairy.
think that was better.
Hairy people walking
I
around.
don't like this cartoon
A
stuff.
bunch of people looking like KK.
Yeah, bunch of furry deadlifters running around.
He's amazing.
Those
He
guys
is.
probably
He's
pull
a
lot of weight.
savage.
I love all the first 5 original Planet of the Apes movies.
Oh, never seen them. Before,
oh,
was Mark Wahlberg in one?
No, that was a
As a
reboot
child.
that sucked.
I think
that
I
one
watched that.
sucked, and then they redid it again. They rebooted it again with James Franco.
I'm
It
more of
was
a James
better.
Franco
Yeah.
fan. I
And
think
then-
he's a homosexual, isn't he?
I can,
No,
I can
openly.
verify
He
that one way or
plays
the
them.
other.
I don't know. Is that what we were talking about?
No, he plays them.
That's
He's-
what Mark's
You brought
always
it up
talking
like
about.
we were talking about that.
Ben mentioned that he can't be on the podcast because we're all homosexuals and he is not. He said he doesn't fit in.
Did I
And then
say
he
that?
said he likes girls with an S,
Did
and then
I
he
say
had to
that?
correct himself.
Yeah, maybe it was off
Now he's in
air.
a lot of trouble because his wife's listening.
Off air he
No,
said
no.
that.
Stephanie Alderman bringing the hammer down.
That's not true.
It's not
now
true
I,
that she's
now I
not
think,
listening.
Now I feel like
or-
I should have said I was a homosexual. Because,
You'd be better off.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be better off.
So what's up with Stephanie Alderman? She helps you run the business. You know, we just had Kelly Starrett on, and the truth is Kelly Starrett is only half as smart as we thought.
He's useless.
He's got a lot of power behind him with Juliet. Is that similar to yourself with what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I mean, all joking aside, most people who know me know that Steph is the good-looking side and the smart side, and she
Right.
takes care of
You're
everything.
not bad
that-
looking, bro.
Well, I don't know.
Come on, man. Let's be honest.
From like the head down or maybe the face up. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Ass up,
You
face
judge.
This
where?
way, which way? I don't know. So
you got nice quads.
But yeah, the Steph does pretty much all the business stuff. She takes care of the billing, which is good because I'd probably end up either not charging people or overcharging people. She does.
Do it based on how you like 'em.
$400 a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah, she takes care of my two boys, and then now what's looking like our 2 foster kids. So
That's awesome.
I heard a little bit about that through the grapevine. Tell us
Yeah.
what's up there.
Tell us what you can tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you guys a little bit. Something that Steph and I have wanted to do for a little while is get involved with helping out, orphans or foster kids or people who just don't have parents, for whatever
Ladies
reason.
and gentlemen, Ben Alderman has lost his mind because both of his kids are very young still. So
Yeah, I've got a 4 and 6
I
year old.
commend him for his efforts here. It's amazing, but holy crap, I would never be able to do that.
Yeah, so we got a phone call about 5 or 6 weeks ago for twin girls. So they're under 6 months of age, and it's going to be special. So we've had them at the house. Twin girls is a lot of work. As you guys know, Jesse Burke's got twin girls.
Yeah,
Yes.
Right? And
Jesse
he kinda-
Burdick knows what's up.
Yeah, he knows what's up, and so I've got 2 boys on top of that. But the nice thing is they're helpful too, and like I said, I have a super wife, so she
Yeah.
does a lot, and she has like basically 5 kids now because me, my 2 boys, and then the 2 other.
So she
girls.
does all that, and she probably doesn't have any time to like work out or anything, right?
She works out about 3 times a week.
Yeah,
And when she comes in,
nice.
she hits it pretty hard, and genetically she just looks great, and then when she works out, it's just
She's
icing on
jacked.
top of the cake. I
She's
know.
got
yeah.
the vein.
Yeah,
And
she
we're
did.
gonna have to drug test her.
Oh,
I'm
she's
serious.
got veins. She's got like a vein in her neck when
Yeah,
she squats.
neck
It's just
vein.
insane, So
That's serious.
It looks like a python.
That's Diana Ball.
Yeah, is that what it
She's on,
is?
she's on Diana Ball.
Yeah, it's been really hard for me to stay clean and have her using in the house. It's just,
Yeah, it's conflict.
yeah, it is. It's really conflict.
You just set us up for a great segue.
Oh, okay.
We want to talk about performance enhancement, in CrossFit.
I thought we were going to talk about segways. I like those things.
Yeah,
I thought we were talking about foster
didn't
kids
they
for
ban them because
segways.
like the guy who invented them like died on one?
Yeah,
or something?
everybody
like,
started
He go off
eating
a
it.
fucking cliff or something.
Is that true?
I don't know. That's what I heard.
Everybody gets killed.
I don't know if that's really true.
The funniest thing I've ever seen though is MTV
I
Cribs
heard
with
that. So
Shaq.
have you heard that?
I've
And he's
heard that.
floating
I don't know
around
if
his
it's true.
thing, acting like a
gotta
robot.
look it up.
And he looks. It looks like he's on a unicycle because it's so little compared to him. It's amazing.
I think those things have a weight limit.
Did
Yeah,
we
he
just
probably broke
segue
it.
into talking about segways?
Shaq on a
This
This
segway.
is amazing.
I changed it up
Oh,
from
Shaq?
performance-enhancing drugs to segways.
He just wanted to avoid the question.
Yeah, guilty.
Yeah, guilty.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I wanted to bring it up is because I think, a lot of people in CrossFit and a lot of people outside of CrossFit are really amazed at the type of builds some people are building, both men and women. You're seeing women
Especially
with
those
abs,
men
veins in their
bodies.
arms and stuff. The guys are getting a little bit bigger, and they're not only ripped, but they have a substantial amount of muscle on them and stuff. And also their performances just keep getting better and better. And like any other sport, you would question, is there something going on here? With your experience, with how hard you work and stuff, do you think that it's possible that some of these guys or a lot of these guys are natural?
I give you a long answer or a short answer. What do you
Either way.
Well,
how about the
when-
long one? Because
in
it's a long podcast.
In like 2001, I went to the Mr. Olympia to watch, obviously.
Right.
And I think at the time I weighed about 204 pounds, and I was 2001. I was like 19 years old.
And you're what? About 5'10".
Yeah, 5'10". But body fat was a little high. I wasn't fat by any means, but I thought I was good at bodybuilding because I read Flex
Right.
magazine. I got my dad to go down to Las Vegas with me, and we went to the Mr. Olympia, spent some time there at the expo. We watched the show, and I looked at my dad. I said, "You know what? I work so hard.
Right.
Everybody here has to be on steroids."
Right.
Right. So that being said, I kept bodybuilding. I stayed clean, stayed natural. I just did everything over the counter. Everything over the counter you could do, I
Right.
did. Right.
Right.
I was just like everybody else. Like, hey, I'm a
Amino acids, creatine, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever
everything
you
I
thought
get my
would
hands
help,
on, I'm
you
doing.
grab, yeah.
And I think
Breast
eventually-
milk? Did you try breast milk?
Negative. I didn't go there.
Maybe at home.
That was a big thing. Only in my milk.
Maybe at home
And
he's
only
had
in
a
my
little
cereal?
bit.
Wasn't that a big thing in the early
Colostrum?
2000s?
I've heard.
Yeah,
that's a big
yeah,
thing, right?
colostrum. They thought it had more
Yeah.
HGH in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know.
I don't
So
know.
anyway,
You guys know. You guys are just trying to keep the secret from me.
That's right. We want to keep you skinny,
Trying to keep you
small,
down.
whatever.
Son of a gun.
Keep you.
My
the way you
brother
are.
drank breast milk from my, let's see, that's my cousin's wife, so whatever the hell that is to us. I don't know.
That's
basically
redneck.
that you did
That's
that.
that's Mad Dog. He
Yeah.
was like, well, the baby wouldn't take the bottle. My little cousin, I think it was Vincent, he like wouldn't take the bottle. And Mad Dog's trying to like show him, like, oh, it tastes good, and he picks it up and starts drinking it. She's like, holy shit. She's like, he's like, what? He's like, that's breast milk. He's like, oh my God, that tastes fantastic.
Wow.
Sick bastard.
It does.
I went to the Olympia, but I didn't try breast milk. So
Okay.
Everything
should've.
but breast
everything
milk
but
and drugs.
breast milk and drugs. Everything over the counter.
Ben's doing a good job of like staying on topic. It's
I
like he
know.
brought a script with him. We don't
Yeah.
usually stay on. We don't usually have a script.
The script is on the floor over there, and not
I can
actually
see it
written.
from where I'm at.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember where I was at now. So
You're-
anyway,
you're in Vegas
yeah.
at the Olympia.
I got to the point where when I was bodybuilding, I weighed about 220 pounds. My body fat is higher than it is now. It's probably around 17-18%.
Did you go in a tank top to try to get noticed?
Not a tank top. I went in
have a
like a
lat
tight
spread?
black
Okay, good,
shirt.
good.
Realized it was just the worst idea ever. Worst idea ever.
Yeah, because everyone else there is so much more jacked, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it just made you look like a tool, which I was at the time. So, and maybe still am. But I got to 220 pounds, and then I said, you know what, forget this. I don't want to do bodybuilding anymore. I got into MMA, and I went from 220 pounds all the way down to 184 pounds when I was fighting.
MMA.
Yeah, I
Nuts.
fought once. You guys can look at my professional record, and you won't find one. It's an amateur record of 0-1. Even though I knocked the guy out, the referee, they don't give you the same type of warning in amateur fighting that they do in professional UFC. Like if you hit somebody in the back of the head, and the ref says, "Hey, watch the back of the head."
Yes, yeah.
In amateur fighting, it's like a hey, you don't.
It's a DQ.
It's a DQ. So
Period, yeah.
the
So
guy
you took a cheap shot and won.
Well, yeah, exactly. No, what happened was the referee was judging it more like a pro fight, but the head of the amateur organization was actually sitting out in the crowd.
Oh.
And so the referee said, "Hey, watch the back of the head." So I switched it, changed my position on the guy, and then hit him with a few left hands. He went to sleep, and the ref called me the winner. And then the the head of the amateur fighting organization steps out of the crowd and says, no, actually, because you warned for the back of the head, that's basically
right.
a
So
DQ.
did you put that guy in a guillotine?
I really wanted to. I was at Uriah Faber's place, and Uriah Faber's like, hey, don't even worry about that. You're going to move on to bigger and better things. Turns out that's the last time I stepped into the gym because I fell in love with CrossFit. So there you have it. Started doing CrossFit, and I went from doing CrossFit, started at 184 pounds, and today I walk around about 217 pounds, only 3 pounds lighter than what I was.
Is he going to announce that he's on steroids right now?
Only 3 pounds lighter than what I was doing when I was bodybuilding and taking all these supplements. Now all
Right.
I do, honestly, is take Progenics and work out.
And
Negative
train.
1% body fat, 217 pounds.
That's it.
So just with the extraordinary builds of some of the other guys, and I'm not going to really name any particular people, but a lot of the guys in the top 15 or top 20 or so are in just crazy shape, and they're lifting some crazy weights. Some of the guys are deadlifting 550, squatting 450. Those are pretty good numbers for people that weigh around 200
Running a
pounds.
mile in sub 6 seconds.
Yeah,
6
right,
minutes.
and just being extremely well rounded. So do you feel like that just with some more hard work through this year that you can kind of do achieve some of those things, and that some of these people are doing it naturally?
Yeah, I do think that drugs are a problem in a lot of sports and a lot of things, but I don't think that they're as much of a problem in CrossFit as a lot of people want to believe.
Right.
I think that a lot of these guys do work hard, and I mean, I deadlift 515, I back squat 440, and I run a sub 7 minute mile.
Right.
But can I not add 15 pounds to that deadlift? Can I not add 16 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I totally think it's possible, and I train like it is possible, and I train like the only thing holding me back is basically my ability to push or not push.
Well, what's your training age too, though? I mean, how long have you been lifting? Period.
Well, lifting period, like I said, in 2001, I went to the Olympia. I had already been, quote unquote, bodybuilding, at a Flex magazine and following
right.
like Flex Wheeler's program, since I was like 17.
Yeah.
So, I've been lifting weights on and off for about 15 years.
Right.
That brings up another point. When you have someone new that comes into CrossFit, do you feel like they're just, way better off? They come in with more of a lifting base. Like you said, you came in with a lifting base. Do you think it's important to, I guess, maybe slow some of the people down a little bit that are coming into it at first without that lifting background, and just saying, hey, let's kind of really work on the basics. Let's take our time with some of the lifts, things like that?
Yeah, I think focusing on form is really important. You make sure people stay safe. But somebody who comes in with a lifting background is always a plus, unless they've come in with a bunch of mobility issues.
Right.
And then
stuck
that's just
together too much.
That's just a pain in the neck, right? Because then you guys spend time doing stuff that you don't really like doing, showing people how to mash their quads or
right.
fix their shoulder. And I mean, that stuff takes time. You know, when you get really jacked up or you get really stuck together, that just takes time. And so if you have somebody with potential, but their main issue is mobility, if they don't make a bunch of progress in the next, first 30 to 60 days, it's going to be a long process.
Right. Yeah.
So in between, when you were doing MMA and stuff like that, and you were bodybuilding, obviously those weren't paying the bills. What were you doing? Before you fell in love with CrossFit and stuff.
Before I fell in love with CrossFit, let's see here, I was just doing normal jobs. I worked for a construction company. I sold timeshare. For a portion of time, I worked at a gym. I was a fitness manager at Gold's Gym just before I started my CrossFit gym.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I just did normal jobs, but they were full-time jobs. They were kind of career-minded jobs, but they just weren't fun. You know, they just weren't enjoyable.
It's kind of neat to me to kind of see the progress that you made, though. Like, because when I first met you, it just seemed like you didn't have a lot of focus, and maybe you felt the same way about myself. But in your case, it seemed like you didn't have a lot of focus, or you just haven't really found exactly what you were looking for yet, and you might not even known what you were looking for. Then you found CrossFit, and CrossFit found you, and it just seemed like a great combination, and then you're able to build up your own gym now, and I think at one point you had 2 gyms. I don't know if you still have 2.
Yeah, I've got 2 gyms. No, that's
right.
I've heard that a couple times from a couple people who are pretty good at what they do. They said, man, it's amazing what happens if you focus for a little while.
Yeah.
And so I've been pretty focused for about 5 years, and
just
God's
before that, you
pretty
just
good
didn't
things.
have as much that you cared about. You found CrossFit, you cared about it a lot, so it was probably easier to focus in on, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, my priorities are, CrossFit is above career.
Right.
You know, it's like if I pursue CrossFit and performance, then the career kind of falls into place.
Yeah.
You know, because it's what I really love doing. It's like somebody who loves music. You know, like I don't really care if I'm kind of poor.
That's really interesting.
I just
and
want
cool
to play
hear,
music. You know, and
Yeah.
so for me, CrossFit is like my music.
Well, you know something will come, right? If
Yeah.
you put your everything into it, maybe you won't be a billionaire, but something will come of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, somebody who has a lot of money told me one time, is that you work as hard as you can at something you love, and the money will take care of itself. And you know, I really believe that because I don't really
Heard the same thing from
pursue-
Kelly. He said the same thing on the podcast. He had some fancy quote.
He said it in German.
So
or
if you
something.
follow
No,
Kelly's
he said-
thread, you need to follow me because I mean, basically say the same thing as he.
Yeah,
So
see?
there you go.
Samesies, twinsies.
Yeah.
What they did say, what they both said, and I've certainly heard it before too, is that about 10 years, like you put about 10 years into something, and you spend a lot of time with it not paying off, and suddenly it starts to pay off.
Mark and I call
Yeah.
it the eat shit method. You got to eat some shit for about 5-10 years.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I've ate shit since I was 5, and I'm still eating shit though. That's 20 years.
You went from breast milk to that.
No, I skipped breast milk and
Mike,
went
give me
straight to
some
shit. Straight to shit.
Just wondering why your breast stank.
Yeah, it's shit breath.
Yeah, you do. You need to eat a shit sandwich without the bread for a while.
Yeah.
God.
There goes our E, by the way. But anyway.
No, we only said shit. What's a PG-13? You get like 2 F-bombs and ass and shit are okay, and then like rated R is unlimited F-bombs or something.
I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's-
What are you guys talking about?
Like
Oh.
movie ratings and like a.
What's going on here?
All right, let's get a real topic. Where do you see CrossFit kind of going in the future? Maybe for you or as a sport. And I mean, CrossFit is a company at its base.
Yep.
And then it's a performance-based company, training method, whatever you want to call it. And now with things like the NPFL popping up, powerlifting in general, Olympic lifting is all getting more and more popular. Do you see that branching out maybe outside of our circle of fitness?
Well, I think that, you know, with all these other things popping up, that's only good for the sport, right? Like, I mean, you have all these other things that are successful. I think they kind of just are the base or the foundation that keeps CrossFit doing well. And likewise, CrossFit doing well helps powerlifting do well, and it helps Olympic lifting do well, and, you know, vice versa. So I think there's a lot.
We
you
agree
know,
on that a lot. We see it
Yeah,
a lot.
I mean, I just think that there's no reason for you know, CrossFitters to hate on powerlifting or powerlifters to hate on Olympic lifting or
Right.
you know, I mean, even gymnastics. I mean, I think the gymnastics, you know, kids getting put into gymnastics now is huge because people want their kids to be good at CrossFit without the mobility issues. You know,
Yeah.
so
That's true. I was at the Las Vegas Combine, and a couple of people commented like, "Well, you're a powerlifter. Like, what's your interest?" Well, I think it's cool, and it's like it's how things are evolving. It's forcing the CrossFit organization to evolve and rethink how it's been operating, and it's giving athletes an opportunity to do things that they haven't done before because it's letting them get paid. And why wouldn't I be interested in that?
yeah, totally. I mean, and it's also kind of an ignorant question, right? You know, it's like
Yeah.
Right,
I
exactly.
was
People are
watching
getting
I was
paid to
watching the
lift.
Giants
Yeah.
game last night, you know, and I'm a CrossFitter, so
Right.
why are you interested in baseball? You know?
Right,
Which
exactly.
is cool. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So sports is cool, and so I think anything that directly relates to, you know, CrossFit or fitness and whatnot that is also a sport, I have to qualify that because like Zumba, I don't think helps CrossFit. Zumba,
I don't think so either.
it. You know, there's no tournament for Zumba. Who's the best Zumba person? Right?
I'm
gonna
going to
be
start that now, though.
Well, there you go, and you're going to be a
Zumba
millionaire
tournament.
in your own
What
mind.
is something that frustrates you the most about some of the current trends that are going on? Any sort of rants that you run into, even with some of your own people that come in the gym? Just maybe they don't have the right mindset yet, and it takes you a little while to coach them up. You have anything like that that really just irks you?
Yeah, I do get a little irritated, you know, and this kind of does go back to what Pat Sherwood was saying about how people need to do more CrossFit.
Right.
I get kind of annoyed when people come into the gym and they want to do CrossFit, but then they also want to add in a bunch of other stuff. And I'll just call it stuff right now because it could be a lifting program. It could be, you know, they want to keep running, or they want to do, you know, they don't want to give up bench pressing 3 times a week, you know.
Right.
So, and it's like, why? You have no idea what you're doing. You've never been good at this sport that you say you want to be good at, and you're already trying to specialize and bias your programming to a certain,
Right.
you know, thing that you think you know is a good idea, but it's really not. You really should do, like Pat said, more CrossFit.
They're not buying in.
Right.
They're not buying in, you know, and it's not. I don't think necessarily it's always like, you know, not well intentioned. It's well intentioned, but they just. They don't understand that they really need a coach. This is a sport. They need a coach.
It's
they want to get
kind of
better.
crazy, but people are fearful. They're like to the point where people are terrified. Like, if I don't do this, you know, I'm not going to get better. Like, they know it. even though you might have more coaching experience, you may have worked with more people, you may have seen their exact situation several times over, and they still won't believe it. Like, no, I gotta like lift with bands, you know, I gotta do dynamic work, I gotta do box squats. They're gonna think that whatever it is that they used to do that they think works for them, you know, they're gonna really want to hold on to it. So it's tough for people to like just let go.
Yeah.
But do you give some of these people like a speech when they come into your gym, like, hey, this is Iron Mile, here's how we try to do stuff here?
Well, I always do that. You know, I always tell people why Iron Mile is different. You know, I tell people that, you know, our goal really is to achieve a mindset that we're willing to push harder and go longer than anyone else. And that's huge. At the same time, when it comes down to their individual workouts, you have people who, you know, they want to do their own thing. They're not really focused, and you walk up to those people, those young guys that are really ambitious. They want to be me in the future, or they want to be somebody who's better than me, like, you know, all the guys who are in the top 20 or whatever, and they want to make it to the CrossFit Games, and they're doing all these random things, and you try telling them, hey, you know what, maybe you should do this. You know, did you see that guy that you're talking about doesn't run 3 times a week every morning when they wake up? They don't, you know, do curls. They don't do 21s. They don't hit the normal gym.
They don't do 21s?
No, they don't do 21s.
That's horseshit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, those are fantastic. They're great for a good pump.
Yeah, so, and then those people, they listen, and then, or they don't listen. And I even tell people now, because I get so tired of saying the same crap, that I just tell them, hey, I'm going to tell you this once, maybe twice. And after that, if you keep doing it, I'm just going to blow you off. You can do whatever you want. You can be as good as you want on your own, but I'm not going to coach you anymore. Yeah. And I just tell people that because they just get tired, and they need to hear that, hey, you got to do some CrossFit. You got to stop doing all the crap that brought you in here and you thought was a good idea, right? And then I showed you that you were actually not as fit as you really thought you were. And then if they do that, they can be somewhat successful. If they don't, they're going to suck.
There's just like a brand of person that cannot take an off-the-shelf program and stick to it for any period of time because somehow they're so freaking special, I guess. You know, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. They like can't see themselves as being the guy who could or girl, mostly guy, who can benefit from an off-the-shelf program for a period of time. Give it 6 weeks, give it 12 weeks, give it 18 weeks. See what happens. If you have deficiencies, you work on them. I mean,
18 weeks, that's way too long for most people.
Yeah, I know.
You know, that's just way too long. They're like, oh, this is never going to happen, you know? So, I mean, I think in 7th grade, I mean, I sucked at basketball, okay? I sucked. But I played basketball, and my coach, I think he set me up for some level of success in certain things by telling me the one thing that I was good at was I was coachable. And so I don't think people are coachable. Yeah, and that's a real problem. When you have people who aren't coachable, whether they're a coach themselves or whether they're a high-level athlete, you know, they're going to top out at some point, and they're going to need somebody else's help. And if they can't take correction and coaching, they're screwed.
You do some online coaching and programming and stuff, right? And that's very common in the CrossFit world, and we're seeing it a lot more in the powerlifting world now, too, where people are coached remotely. I know you're going to have to walk a little bit of a tightrope here, but what does that say about the coaching that these athletes that you're working with might receive in the boxes that they actually train in?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly why I started IronMileCoaching.com, is because people don't get the type of programming and type of attention that they need. You know, whether it be, you know, somebody who's 500 or 600 miles away, or somebody who's, you know, a few miles away. You know, it just depends. People sometimes get sucked into a gym that has all the best of intentions, and then all their friends work out there, and then all of a sudden they don't have a program that's going to really lend itself to pushing them to the next level. So I say, hey, for $50, you can see what type of programming I do. It's the type of things that, you know, made me successful, and I'm just going to share them with you. Yeah, and so here you go.
The fitness industry just needs something to pick on all the time, so they pick on CrossFit, bad coaches, bad form, this and that. But the truth is, you go to every Gold's Gym, every 24-hour fitness, and what, 10% of the trainers will be really good, and the other 90 will be really bad. That's the same everywhere else. Powerlifting coaches, CrossFit coaches. How many kids do you see at a commercial gym deadlifting, and it's just terrible? I've never seen one person deadlift really, really well at a commercial gym.
Never happens.
That's just because of the coaching and the environment, this and that. It's the same in CrossFit as it is everywhere else. If you go by percentage,
and then,
coaching sucks everywhere.
I think you know, people see somebody like in a pair of Reebok shorts and you know, Progenics shirt or something, and they think that everybody that's wearing that stuff is automatically a CrossFitter. And sometimes they're doing something at a commercial gym. They might be doing some pull-ups, and everyone complains like, hey, this asshole's in my way when I'm trying to squat. He's doing, you know, some kipping pull-ups or something on the, you know. But they're not CrossFitters. Like, if you're not at a CrossFit, then you're not a CrossFitter, I don't think. You know, if you were Or if you're not like practicing it the way that it's meant to be practiced, you can't do CrossFit inside of a commercial gym, right?
No, you really can't. You don't get the same. You can't convince me that fitness happens inside of a air conditioned,
Right.
Globo gym. Like it just doesn't happen.
Right.
There's an element of fitness that really is unknown
Right.
and unknowable. Like that's one of CrossFit's original, mottos or slogans, and
Right.
it's true. Like today's workout for me, I did a 100 meter, overhead carry with 225 pounds, and then every time I dropped it, I had to do 5 burpees. Then, and this is outside in the hot sun. You can't duplicate that kind of stimulus in a 100-yard front rack carry, then 40 foot of handstand walk, and then 100 meters of walking lunges, and then half-mile run.
Right.
It's like to do that into a commercial gym, which is more set up for body part training, is impossible.
When it's set up for comfort.
It's set up for comfort.
If you want to make changes,
Well, that's why the machines are there.
Those machines
I want to
trip
work
me
my
out.
legs.
I'll be honest; those machines trip me out. Like
I barely know what someone's
they're
doing
like,
anymore.
I don't even know what
You
they
get
do, and they have
locked in.
seat belts. I'm like, how fast are we going to go?
Yeah,
right?
what's this?
really fast.
Where are we going?
Yeah,
So
where's my
Pretty
helmet?
soon they're going to have like a parachute, and it's
Yeah.
like safety
A
first.
helmet.
Well, and there's a place for all that stuff too, but I agree with what you're saying. And same thing with powerlifting. Like you really can't get the correct powerlifting done inside a commercial gym. And I know some people have done it for a few years, but usually once they reach a certain level of strength, they're like, oh crap, I better find like a higher level.
Well, anything in life, you got to step out of your comfort zone to improve.
Right.
And if you're in AC with a towel on your head, watching ESPN on the leg press with a
I know
seatbelt on,
sometimes-
you're in your comfort zone.
I know sometimes people that listen to the podcast, they sometimes get tired of us talking about CrossFit because, we're powerlifting based, and so they're always kind of, waiting for me to interview the next guy that squatted 1,000 pounds. But one of the things I love about CrossFit, and one of the things that I embrace, is the fact that you guys will go get out of your own gym, like especially your gym. I think right now the situation is your gym is still fairly new.
Yeah.
You're the best guy in there by far. I don't think there's one person that can beat you in there on anything.
No.
Right.
Until I show up.
Yeah.
Well,
I've got
yeah,
a couple.
that's-
I've got
it's
guys.
kind of a
I got
change.
a couple guys who deadlift more than I do. I've got a couple guys who are faster than I am at like a sprint, and some of those people.
Yeah,
are the
but that
same.
guy's black.
Yeah, he is black.
He out deadlifts you and he outruns you. I know exactly what you're talking about
you know
already.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Jack, too.
So,
He's handsome though.
right, and I actually like having that guy around because in a lot of ways he pushes me. I told that same guy about
What the hell's his name?
Tariq.
Tariq. Yeah, that's right.
So I told that guy a month ago.
Tariq's gonna kick my ass next time I see him.
I said at regional, I said all the guys that were on that floor with me, I said will probably never be able to deadlift like you. They'll never be able to sprint like you, and they'll never be able to jump like you. So if you work on all
Or
the crap
rap.
that you suck at, I don't think Tariq can rap.
What's that?
No.
I don't believe it.
We got to put him on the spot.
I don't believe
Yeah,
it.
I know, right? And so, but I said, so you work on all the stuff you suck at, and you're going to be great,
Right.
And I'm one of those guys. I'll never be able to deadlift like Tariq. I'll never be able to jump like him.
You bring other CrossFitters in all the time too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
train with
mention.
you, that's
Also,
the-
is that you go to Ben's
Blair's.
or Blair's, and
Yeah.
Blair comes to your place, and so on. You guys jump around. It's really interesting. Powerlifting, you don't really see that too often. Every once in a while, some guys will get together that are buddies, but it's pretty rare. And even to the point where many of the gyms that we've seen over the years, people kick other people out when they get stronger.
Yeah, there's
It's-
feuds
It's
for
insane.
no reason.
Or people leave gyms when somebody else gets stronger than them. It's
Yeah.
absolutely insane. But I've always loved that about CrossFit, the fact that like someone's like, you know what, even if you and Blair competed against each other, right? At regionals?
Yep.
Yeah, you competed against each other, but you're helping each other. That's
Sure.
great. I think that's awesome.
I think just before regionals came out, the group that I had in the gym was Chad Augustin, myself, Blair Morrison, and Lauren Adams. And Lauren finished in the top 10. He finished 10th. I finished 7th. Blair finished a little bit outside the top 10 this year. And then Chad is going to the games as a Masters athlete,
Right.
and will probably podium there. So,
Yeah.
we had a lot of guys, and
Everyone
none of-
hates Chad Augustine. He's so
Right.
happy.
Chad Augustine is like the nicest guy in the
He
world.
is.
And I told him, I said, you know what,
He's
bro,
amazing.
that is the fakest front I've ever seen in my life, is what I used to think.
Yeah, it's
And
not
then you
that.
realize-
24/7.
Oh, well, I
Yeah.
mean, unless
Yeah.
he's been fronting for about 4 years,
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but no, he really is. And he's actually one of my
there's
best
a burning
friends.
desire inside that guy to whoop your ass.
Yeah,
there
he-
really is. He really has like they used to say about Mike Tyson, bad intentions. Like he
Yeah.
goes after it,
Yeah.
like 100 miles an hour.
There's
you
certain
know?
workouts where if I write him on the board, like I know I can't beat Chad.
Right.
Because he just will go through more pain than anyone else. And the dude is 41 years old. Going to be
Right.
41 years old. That's
Yeah.
scary.
This is a little bit off topic, but a negative thing I see with the CrossFit Open and all that. We're big. Me and Mark talk about the Open, that how cool it is that anybody can enter. It's the biggest tournament in the world besides Mark says American Idol.
Yeah, I think that I know of.
Right, it's huge and it's awesome. It's cool that everybody compete. But my thoughts are, and I might be wrong, correct me, but like NorCal is just a breed for studs.
Sure.
And guys, girls, team, everything. They always win. At least they have the top 10. People are all studs. I mean, you moved to Tennessee. I don't know. I just made this up. Maybe Rich is there, actually.
Yeah, Rich is there.
Let's move you to Utah.
Bad example.
Yeah,
Utah,
I'm just making stuff up. You move to Utah, and you win the Utah Open,
Right.
and you crush everybody because everybody only has one leg there.
Right.
And then you go to...
Is that true?
That's what
Utah?
I hear. That's what I hear.
In Utah, there's some good athletes, but
Well,
it's
I know
not
what you're-
the same
I know what you're saying.
I'm just
as
making all this.
NorCal.
Okay, you go to Canada.
Yeah.
No athletes are in Canada. They're
No,
all on
there's
the
no way.
ice. They're all on the ice.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying, but it's similar to the NBA or similar to the NFL, where sometimes you just come out of a really bad conference, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there might be two of the best
But-
teams might be in the same
but at
conference.
least-
They knock each other out every year.
At least in the NBA and NFL, I feel it's a little more fair because money's involved. There's salary caps.
Yeah.
So it evens out over time.
Right.
There's draft picks. It evens out over time. You're screwed. You're a NorCal dude. You're not going to move your wife and all your kids to Utah to beat all the one-legged guys. So you're going up against competition.
the same dudes every year.
And the best. I mean, they're really, really right. Neil Maddox and
You got to figure something out, Alderman.
I know. Well, you
Let's
know,
go, buddy.
Seventh the last 2 years, and the 6 guys in front of me are all CrossFit Games veterans.
Yeah.
Right.
So every single one of them.
So what does CrossFit say on that? Like the HQ or you?
As far as
or-
I'm
honestly-
concerned, those guys are on a list now.
Yeah, they're on my hit list. But you know what? I think what that means is, you know, they should just let 7 people into the CrossFit Games from
There you
I
NorCal.
agree. Top 7.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, yeah. So
NorCal.
why
That'd
don't
be
they?
good.
Why don't they do ratings like that? So
Well-
that's what they do in high school and college basketball, right? Each league gets a rating. So NorCal's rating's a 10 because it's the hardest and best league or region.
Right.
Sure.
Utah's a 4 because they all have one leg, and then so
One leg thing.
I just wanted to, I don't know.
Yeah, but I
They're-
got you. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean whatever.
I think Karl Malone used to be there. He had 2 legs.
That guy's busy driving trucks.
But maybe he's from somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. He's from the South.
Karl
No,
Malone.
well they do weight it. So that's
Okay, it is weighted.
It is weighted in a sense. So but the max you can have is 3. So it's not really weighted to
Enough.
scale, right? You know, like Asia has 1. Are we really only you know,
There's
worth 2 more spots?
What, 3 trillion people in Asia?
Yeah,
That's
they're only-
racist.
And they're only worth 1. You know, so
And CrossFit, just in general, just always likes to make things somewhat difficult. Like they don't, like Rich Froning, he still has to qualify and everything. He still has to get.
yeah, and
he
what
still
does that
has to
say
do the
about
open,
Rich too? You know what I mean? That says like really amazing things about Rich. That he's been there.
It's unbelievable.
Year after year after year.
Right.
Well, didn't he
Is-
kick everyone's ass too?
I think it just
Like in
says
the open
steroids. I
and
think
in
that's all it
regionals?
says.
That's what it says, right? I mean, it must be that.
EPO and steroids.
Son of a bitch.
I heard he's best friends with Lance Armstrong.
Whoa.
Let's start the
Speaking of
rumor
Lance-
mill.
Whoa.
Speaking of Lance Armstrong, that documentary is amazing.
I haven't
It's
seen
called
it.
The Armstrong Lie.
Haven't seen it.
It
I
is
haven't either.
unbelievable.
If it's about drugs, I'm there.
It's a lot about drugs, but it's a lot about the guy that trained Armstrong was like a scientist and stuff, but he
Yeah.
also knew a lot
Chemist.
about what the limits were for people in endurance sports.
He wasn't a bass player like Victor Conti.
Right, he wasn't a bass player. He was a scientist, but he knew a lot about like EPO and
Yeah.
steroids and stuff.
Those
obviously,
things get all the lines of EPO and all that stuff get weird. Like Kobe Bryant's flying to Germany to get injections in his Achilles and stuff, but it's legal, but it's not legal.
well, so what they did in the Armstrong thing, it gets to be really insane.
weird, yeah.
So they train at high altitude. This is what you're going to be doing this year, so you can win
Yes.
the CrossFit
In
Games.
Utah, maybe?
Oh, Utah.
With all the
right, we're
one-legged
back to
dudes
Utah.
carrying your water for you.
Yeah.
But he trains at high altitude and trains as hard as he possibly can for a few weeks. And they take like his hardest workout days. They like judge it by the amount of watts that he puts out and everything. There's all these like scientists and doctors and shit around.
Yeah.
They draw blood. It's a transfusion. They're not just drawing like a little bit of blood. They draw like a lot of blood, bags and bags of blood. And they store it in a refrigerator for a few days. And then when he goes back out and he's doing the Tour de France,
Yeah,
at
all
some
up in his
point
butt.
he gets hit up with that blood again.
And
back
that's
into his-
legal, right?
Back into his bloodstream. That is illegal.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
illegal.
Isn't that called blood doping? Is that what that's
It's called blood doping. And the insane part is they fake their bus breaking down, and the whole team, not just him, the whole team does it in front of everybody. Their bus breaks down. There's 5,000 people around them, but no one can see inside the bus, and they do their blood transfusions right there. They get out. They go on their bikes, and they kick everybody's ass.
Holy
There's something
smoke.
similar to
Yeah,
blood
it's
doping.
unbelievable.
There's
It's
something-
I
unbelievable.
need a bus for next year.
Yeah, and EPO.
Okay. You know what? The funny thing is all my years in the gym, and this is no joke, I've never seen steroids. Like in person, never seen
Hold
a
on a
bottle.
second. Let me get my.
Never seen this stuff. I saw one like little gel pack.
Yeah.
From one of my family members that was actually prescribed from a doctor.
Okay.
That's it. One time in my 15 years of lifting weights.
I
Yeah, I
went
haven't
to,
either.
and some
Really?
people
Yeah,
listening to this
never.
podcast probably know, and Jim, I think, knows. If you went to the bathroom at the WPO finals, which was the biggest powerlifting spectacle pretty much in the history of the sport,
Yeah.
there was vials. There were like people just did not give a shit. There was stuff, all
Syringes.
needles, syringes. People just not care. They're like, everyone must know what we do, so who cares? People
Yeah.
just hitting themselves up
That blows my
in
mind.
the bathroom. I mean, I
We're like
remember seeing
spectators
that.
like picking it up and trying to use whatever
Yeah.
left
Yeah,
over. Like,
yeah.
just like,
Trying to
give me the
drink it.
rest.
That'd be
Yeah, they know what's
scary.
going on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, never seen it before. So I'm like, I don't know, little vials, big vials.
Now you're starting to sound like these baseball players.
Never
No.
seen it.
I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I got that from.
I'm not on any today. I didn't take a shot today, so I'm clean.
Right. Test me anytime you want after today.
What else is going on with Iron Mile? Any big events coming up or anything going on?
Yeah, so we have an event in October called Iron October. We ran it last year. It was really successful. It's a partner competition. We have a little twist to it this year, and can't release it yet.
Ooh,
But
the twist part.
the twist part, yeah, I wish it was ready to go on the air now, but I didn't know this question was coming. But we have a partner competition, and last year we had a team win it.
I'll just
Well,
ask Blair Morrison. Doesn't
There
he
you go. Well,
program?
Blair Morrison was one of the people who won it last year. So
Oh, okay. I
him
thought,
and-
I thought he was involved with the programming side.
well, I
of it.
was going to do that, but then he wanted to do it. So I said, all right, why don't you come do it? And then
Conflict of interest. He
won it.
does the programming and he wins.
I know, right? And then our second place team was a couple of games athletes from Rockland CrossFit, and then our girls who won were both games athletes, Margot Alvarez and Emily Friedman. So we draw a good quality athlete, and so that's what we're looking to do again this year: is make it a little bit bigger, a little bit better, throw out a few things that are, people aren't really going to expect. So it's going to be pretty awesome. So we're
Right.
already starting to prep for that. It's in the back of our minds. It's in my mind all the time as far as what's the workout going to be. Last year we used a log for an overhead carry. Strongman log. We use GHDs, which is not necessarily that random for CrossFit, but it's not that normal to see in a local competition
Right.
because they're expensive and you need a lot of them.
And you have a bunch of them.
Yep, we have a bunch of them. Iron Mile's got a lot of cool equipment.
A lot of
saw
cool
the-
stuff.
I
Yeah.
saw the fastest GHD sit-ups I have ever
It's insane,
ever
isn't
seen
it, how
at the
people can move?
NPFL.
Yeah.
Unbroken, just nuts. I mean, when you think
Unbroken besides their spine.
Except for their
that looks so
spines, yeah.
painful.
Oh, it looks like it hurts.
I can't even bend over. We do like sit-ups like that, and
Yeah.
we go like 30 degrees.
I haven't seen those ones. Somebody told me about those at the NPFL, but I know for a fact that Miranda Oldroyd also trains out of NorCal
Yeah.
CrossFit.
Yeah.
She can whip out some GHD
She's
sit-ups.
jacked out of her mind.
Yeah, and her
Yeah,
abs
she's
are
ripped.
crazy. Yeah.
She's strong too. We did
Kinda-
some
kinda
bench
like my
pressing with
abs.
her.
Yeah. Miranda's really strong. Great athlete, great person.
Do you think some people can be too ripped for CrossFit? Like some it seems like there's a certain level to kind of get to, and then it seems like some guys, if they're like kind of too lean, they just don't have enough body weight on them to
And maybe
simply
they're
move
not-
around some of the weight,
Literally just eating enough.
right?
Yeah, I think if they're lean because they're undernutrition. I mean, there's like Matt Chan said, I think no way to there's no healthy way to underfeed an organism over time,
Yeah.
right? You're screwed.
What?
No healthy way. I'll say it slower.
Matt Chan,
no,
he
I
must be part Asian.
Chan.
With
I
that
know,
name.
but
How
but he
racist.
said, but I think he said he wasn't, and then with words of wisdom like that, he's got to be.
When it's so
that sounds
racist-
like you'd get that out of a fucking fortune cookie.
Doesn't
I
his
know.
Rogue bar have a samurai on it?
Does it really?
yeah,
we
it
looked at
does.
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
racist.
Yeah,
An
Chan.
Oriental bar.
See, I've never talked to
yeah.
him before. I respect him a lot, though. I follow him on Instagram. I stalk him. I guess he did like a
He's
bike
ripped.
ride where he
He's
had to like
handsome.
walk through a river first
is
and
jacked.
then go for a ride up the mountain.
He's
you know?
besties with Mark.
Yeah, well, he
Sort
saw
of.
me doing burpees at regionals, and he looks over to the guy from Paul Gomez from Progenics, and he just says, "Somebody's got to teach Alderman how to do a burpee." So I haven't been able to do burpees as long because of the appendix surgery. So those are one thing that they hurt for a long time. So
I
I,
bet.
had to take some time off, and
I stopped doing them years ago because of the same reason.
yeah, I know, right?
Haven't really looked back.
So, but Matt's actually in part right. I need to get better at burpees, regardless of appendix surgery or not.
So what's your goal? What's your plan for next year to to just try to place better, try to get yourself to the games?
Yeah, so the goal for me, my lifelong goal is to podium actually at the CrossFit Games. So I have a lot of work to do because I've got to get to the podium at regionals. Now, if you get to the podium at regionals, though, in NorCal, you're kind of set up for doing well in the games because
right.
you're
Yeah.
going against the upper echelon of athletes.
Right.
I think in August of last year, I ended up going to Boston on a trip with a bunch of the athletes who are with Progenics, and one of those athletes was Jason Kalipa. And I respect Jason a lot. I don't think he knew who I was until August, and he probably forgot until regionals this year. But one thing he said is, hey, I will tell anybody what I do because nobody's willing to work as hard as I am. And at first, I'll be honest, it pissed me off because I thought I worked really hard. And then I saw Jason work for a couple days, and I go, you know what? That guy's better than me because he outworks me. There's no way. There's no excuses, right? And so now
he works at an insane rate.
he
we
does.
went down and we trained him, and we were blown away.
And from August till regionals, which was 2.5, 3 weeks ago, at regionals, I take it was a huge compliment to me because Jason's not at all telling me I'm as good as he is or anything
He's
like that.
won the CrossFit Games before.
Yeah, and he just looked at me and just said, "Man, he's like, you impressed me this go around,
That's awesome.
And so from not knowing who I am to saying I impressed him, and in part that was really a byproduct of him saying that because I said, you know what, if nobody's willing to go there, then I'm going to go there.
Right.
And had I not had my appendix taken out, I really believe that I could have earned one of those top 3 spots. I wouldn't have had 4.5 weeks of doing one workout a week during the middle of the season.
That's really cool. I think that's part of being great in any sport. You got to be willing to go places other people won't. They say like Kobe Bryant's just like meticulous. He'll stay after practice for 2 or 3 hours and keep shooting. But on the other hand, he kind of ends up with a chip on his shoulder because he's like mad that the other guys aren't hanging with him and stuff. But I think
it's a little different in team sports.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's frustrated.
If you're the most
if
you're the most competitive, then you're going to expect more of yourself and
more of everybody else around you.
Right. And they're not on the same level at any level. But personal, I think that's why I moved to powerlifting.
And you look at someone like Shaq. Shaq. I don't know what his work ethic's like, but he probably didn't have to work as hard. I'd imagine being 7 feet tall when you're like 18, he probably didn't have to work that hard to dunk the ball.
He's got great shoes.
Yeah, and nobody really cares if he can make a free throw, right? They're just like, just dunk it if you're going to pay.
Right.
Okay, gotcha, bro.
Yeah, and each person's a little different. And some people will have more work ahead of them than others.
Yeah.
So on the Segway thing, it's not the guy who invented the Segway who was killed by the Segway. It's the guy who bought the company from him.
Oh, karma's a
that
bitch.
A bitch. Yeah,
that sucks. So the other guy's still probably rich.
He's probably riding around on Segways.
Yeah, right. He's like, I ride mopeds.
He bought the company and he bought the farm.
And he bought the farm.
But
he bought the cliff.
So he rode off a cliff, right?
He rode off a cliff.
In San Francisco? Is that happen? Ish?
Did he do it on purpose?
I don't think it was on purpose, no.
If he was married, it could have been on purpose.
Could have been if he was married.
Married with kids, boy. He could have, 4 kids.
Where are those rice cakes?
I don't know. We need something, though.
You were supposed to bring rice cakes.
I have some.
Oh, all right. I'm not joking around. I'm trying
baby
to get
cakes.
jacked. Rice cakes for your baby cakes?
Uh-huh.
I haven't tried these rice cakes.
Oh, well, then you're not on the Jacked and Tan plan.
It was in San Francisco.
You should eat some rice cakes.
It was not. It was not. Oh, okay.
He was in England.
The Jacked and Tan plan. I've been trying to. You know what? I got to go back to something real quick because you were talking about steroids and drug use and whatnot.
Steroids.
I'm bringing it back
quickly. Back to steroids.
He's gonna flip this table over
in
with
July.
Rage.
I know. In July of last year, I got invited to go to the CrossFit Games because I was not competing by one of my sponsors, and I met Kendrick Ferris. And
that guy's jacked.
Yes, and I'm not implying Kendrick at drug use at all. What I'm saying is I was at Kendrick's seminar, and I go, and he goes, "Hey, how much you weigh, bro?" And I'm like, about $195, $190, somewhere in there. And he's like, "Bro, you are bigger than that." And I'm like, "Oh, I've been 195 for a while." They pull out the scale. I pull off my shirt, and I take off my shoes.
Takes off his pants.
No, I left my pants.
Things are getting weird.
Pants were already off. I step onto the scale, and it's like 206. And I'm like, oh, man, 11 pounds, right? Like most people would be excited. I actually was kind of excited. After that, I started breaking my previous squat PRs and stuff because I'm like, well, if I'm 206, I should be squatting way more than that. 195, like, that's fine to stay at that low, crappy squat. But now I've got to move up to, 440.
Some big boy weights.
Yeah, but the thing is from July until regionals, I gained another 12 pounds. I was 218 when I went to regionals. I'm doing all these like 64 pull-ups in a row, and it's like it gets hard.
Yeah, you were. How many handstand push-ups did you do? Like 70 or something, or what was that?
55, I think it was, or 56. Or
handstand push-ups.
Oh, you mean that one in 90 seconds? The one at the MPFL, that video I sent you? I think I did 53 in 90 seconds, something like that. They were all kidding.
I did one in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's really good. I couldn't do one in 5 minutes.
It was
like
so
one
hard.
4 or 5 minutes would be hard.
Yeah, it was almost like that.
Yeah,
it
was a 5-minute grind.
And then he goes right into like a push-up. He's doing like a deficit one. He's sticking his head through something.
That guy's on something.
Oh, yeah.
That guy's on something.
Of course. Klokov.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Well, I was kind of talking about that 12 pounds I gained from July till regionals. If I was on steroids, I would gain so much weight. It would be impossible.
Maybe
for me
you
to-
were.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe you picked up
maybe
the
I just
wrong
didn't
shaker
know.
bottle
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
games.
But I would
Just
be
like-
so
yeah, just
big,
like
I'd
all
be
these
trying to
other
compete
athletes. I
at
didn't know what I
regionals
was
at like
doing.
230 or something like
Yeah.
that, you know, and then all of a sudden I'd be screwed.
Yeah, you'd
So-
be like bloated and you'd be all slow.
You need
Yeah.
blood transfusions in
You
Utah.
wouldn't be able to move. You'd be like Mark Bell.
Maybe that blood transfusion thing makes sense, but steroids, I don't know, man. I don't think that many of the top guys are using. Our training is too difficult on a day in and day out basis. I think we'd gain too much mass if what people tell me about steroids
Right.
is
Yeah.
true.
There's different things to take and different doses and stuff.
Like
and
what?
You can you can keep some of the weight down. You know, there's some things that are going to bloat you up and make you big and chubby like a powerlifter. There's other things that'll kind of slice you up more like a bodybuilder. You know, so it's a little bit.
Is there anything that will make me a better swimmer?
Oh yeah, the fish steroids.
Okay,
Oh,
sign
fish
me
oil.
up. I will admit
Yeah,
to
does
using
Progenics
that
make fish
because
oil?
I
You
am.
can use it.
Well, I'm actually on.
Salmon protein.
I'm on salmon protein right now, so I
Oh,
got
yeah.
I got a little bit of flack for that.
That sounds so gross.
Well, I'm on a product called Flow right now, and I'm not doing any whey protein after my workouts right now.
Okay.
I'm doing just a hydrolyzed salmon isolate. So, you know, there's some research out that it's not very good. It's been in like
There's
pet
always
food
stuff to refute
and
you
stuff
know,
like
and
that. You
so
know,
there's always
because they're,
stuff.
they're grinding up all the old parts that aren't being used from salmon.
Yeah,
well,
but where
the
does
sa-
whey protein come? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah, it's from a
where's-
nipple.
well,
yeah, where's it all coming
From
from?
a
check
cow
this out.
nipple.
The salmon protein that
Right.
these guys are using is from fillets from the same place that Whole Foods actually gets their salmon from. So this is all like top quality, and so I'm just trying to see what it's like. I haven't weighed myself.
How does it taste? It tastes okay?
It's a little fishy.
Oh,
Really?
It's a little fishy. Yeah.
How's it on your stomach? Because whey can be weird for
You know
a
what?
lot of people.
Yeah.
For me, if I miss a meal, I get really grouchy. But if I have,
That's why you need rice cakes,
if I have
bro.
a- yeah,
You
I
gotta
know.
teach
if I have
them about rice
if I have a
cakes.
packet of Flow, a scoop of peanut butter, and a cup of coffee,
There you go.
man, I feel great.
Let's talk a little more diet. So I'm a hater on paleo.
Look at these
Oh.
guns.
For the
come on.
average
Flex
athlete.
these guns for those who are watching. Look at that.
Those are
That's
pretty
damn
good. What? How big are your arms? 18?
I don't know.
Those
you
are
tell
pretty
me.
big.
You tell me. I don't
You
even
know,
know.
you're
bullshit.
lying.
I don't
Don't
know.
bullshit
You're a
us.
liar.
No,
You're a
because
bodybuilder.
if I measure my pipes, I have to measure other stuff, and I don't want to know the answer, right? So I just.
Oh, you just measure from the butthole.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
or the
you
back-
didn't know? You measure from the butthole.
Or the
Measure what?
backbone. I think the backbone.
you know?
The coccyx.
Jesus.
Yeah, the coccyx, yeah.
From coccyx to coccyx.
So
yeah.
I think paleo is great for a really fat guy.
Okay.
I don't think paleo is good for a elite level, very active athlete. How do you eat? And what we hear or watch in articles and videos is that a lot of the elite CrossFitters, obviously powerlifters, bodybuilders, do not eat paleo. Basketball players, NFL, typical.
He eats growth hormone and steroids.
Yeah. Typically, you know, you say the best athletes in America, who are they? Probably in the NFL. You can define athlete how you want, something like that.
But where there's the most money, there's going to be the best
Yeah,
athletes,
Right,
probably.
and those guys aren't eating kale and steak and avocado all day. Adrian
Right.
Peterson's eating whatever he can because he's lifting his brains off and trucking dudes on the field.
Yeah.
I just heard the San Francisco Giants talked Hunter Pence out of the paleo diet over the course of
Baseball's a different category. You're not a real athlete if you're fat and getting paid millions of
Well,
dollars.
Hunter Pence is in good shape.
Yeah, he's.
Oh, I don't
jacked.
know, but I
Yeah,
know
he's pretty and
but I know
really
that-
tall, isn't he?
Yeah,
Like
he's pretty
6'3"
tall.
or something.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of guys in baseball. That's one of the first things that piss me off about baseball. You wear tights. You can be really
Tights?
really fucking fat and be the best.
Well, yeah, you can be pretty fat.
This kind of like sounds like powerlifting. Tights and you can be fat.
That's
You're the
why.
best.
That's
So-
why.
Sounds exactly like powerlifting.
I don't know. I don't understand
That's
the
it. This
double
podcast
standard
is
here.
over.
That's why raw powerlifting is becoming popular.
Right.
Because you get a little jacked.
But you're still in tights.
Yeah, I don't compete anymore. I'm
Many-
retired.
many
Retired
tights.
before you did anything.
Yeah,
I like it.
There
you
go.
can't mess up.
I'm retired, bro.
Hanging,
somebody
hanging it
retired.
up.
Oh, no, sorry,
yeah, I hung
can't
it
do
up
that.
when I was on the middle average. Go out on the middle.
Middle
yeah,
average.
go out in the middle.
Yeah.
So how do you eat?
So you know, you hate on paleo. I did paleo like about, gosh, I was here when it all fell apart for me. I was doing some squatting with Mark and Blair and you know some of
I
the
remember a
boys.
couple times you just really weren't feeling
Oh
it, right?
gosh, I felt like crap, you know. And at some level, you're right. I mean, Adrian Peterson's not eating that crap. You know, he's eating a lot of food because at some level, your fitness overwhelms your nutrition.
Yeah.
Right. And so for people who can work out a lot, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Eat what you can. You know, I mean, you don't want to eat just total.
Well, if your body
garbage.
composition isn't an issue,
Yeah.
then I totally agree. Yeah,
and your output is high, you know,
Yeah.
you have to eat. You can kind of get away with whatever.
I think you have to eat carbohydrates. You know, your body's first grabs carbs. Your brain, what makes us live, first
Right.
grabs carbs to live. We live off them. So if you're spending all your energy lifting 3 times a week, or 3 times a day, excuse me, and you're not eating any carbs, what is your brain doing?
Oh, yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah. I mean, I know ketones and this and that, and your body, you know,
Have you noticed,
lipolysis and all this bullshit.
Have you noticed eating affecting you in any other way? Like you said, you did paleo for a little while, it just wasn't your thing. And have you noticed, you know, trying to get more meals in? Has that helped you, or does that slow you down? You know,
my nutrition
it's got to be tough to get it in all the time.
Yeah, my nutrition's all over the map.
Now.
You know, I'll be honest. Like, I mean, it's all over the map. Sometimes it's really important to me when I go out to eat that I'll order like a paleo-ish type meal.
Right.
And the other times I'm like avoiding dairy. I'm not eating cheese or, you know, whatever. And the next morning I've got like tons of cream in my coffee, you know. And so it's like it just makes the bathroom really interesting, like bouncing back and forth. You know what I mean? So it's nuts, you know. So
It sounds like an art form.
yeah, well,
just variety.
You know, but the reality is, as long as I'm not hungry and my stomach's not upset, and I feel like going to train, that's all that matters. I eat pizza, you know.
In and out a lot, I hear.
I do. I hit in and out pretty much every time I leave here.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Well, I don't
eat that much bread. Like honestly, I
Yeah.
don't eat that much white bread. Like I just don't think.
But
It's
I just don't even think it matters either way. I don't think you need to weigh anymore.
right.
And I don't know if there's a reason for you to be like lighter or leaner. You know,
right.
maybe to help you run more,
But it's
better.
just-
But like,
Yeah.
But that's
you
some
said you run pretty good anyway. A 7-minute mile or something like that.
Yeah, it's getting better.
But
It's
at
getting
some
better.
extent, on both ends, you know, you gaining 10 pounds, your squat will go up 10 pounds. Who cares? That's not what you need.
No, I
and
don't do
losing
that.
10 pounds, your mile will go down just that purely 10 seconds or something. Who cares?
Right.
You know, at some point, I don't even know the term, but it just doesn't matter.
What's the heaviest CrossFitter that's like, you know, that's really good? Like, you know, who's the heaviest guy?
Who's our
Is there anyone 220, 230? I mean,
dancer?
everyone's.
Sammy?
Yeah, but he's
he's
not
pretty
that
big.
heavy.
That's
though.
funny. I just talked to Sam on the phone. Well, I was texting with him this morning.
Yeah.
You guys moving to NorCal too? Great.
I
Just gonna
emailed
make
him.
this place
Oh,
just
geez.
crazy.
Yeah, that guy's jacked. No, he's pretty heavy, I think.
Colson,
Isn't he like
Newcastle.
220, 230? He's a big dude.
He's just thick. You know, Sam's
Yeah.
a thick guy.
We're
you
setting
know.
him up with some slingshot products.
Yeah.
You mentioned
Yeah.
that a while back.
yeah.
Yeah,
If he's
Sam
listening,
about
I
to.
got him some stuff last week, so
Did
hopefully
you?
it's there.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
He said you recommended him. I was like, oh, actually, I'm not sending you shit.
yeah. Well, I know. Sorry, Sam. I screwed you, man. I was like, oh, Sam.
Yeah, what's that
Dancing.
guy weigh?
Sam Dancer. I don't know what Sam weighs, but he's a little thicker than I am. So
Sam Dancer sounds like a newscaster.
It's the greatest fucking name.
it
Yes.
is the best name. And then he changed it for Instagram. It's Sam Dancing. You know,
Oh.
so
That's
you
what I
follow-
thought it was.
You gotta follow. No, and people tell me that too.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know Sam Dancing?
Yeah, that's bad.
I don't know Sam Dancing. No, I don't. I just play
Sam
stupid like I don't know who
Dance.
they're talking about. No,
Man, that's
Don't
great.
know. You know he's Sam
Dance Dancer.
Dancing. He
Yeah, dance pants.
Sam Dancing. He outsnatched you. You know, at that event for the teams. I'm like, oh, I don't know who that is. Yeah, sorry.
No such name.
No such name. Doesn't ring a bell. So
Yeah, he's jacked, though. I think he's like 220.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
pretty big,
he's
but
got to
that's
be
sort of the
220.
upper limit, though,
He
right?
just
I mean-
he's also thick, you know, and I think he really enjoys the team competition
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it allows him to. And I don't really know this very well. I actually really like Sam. We've talked a few times, but I don't know him that well, you know. So I don't know if he stays team because he really enjoys, you know, being strong, focusing on the strength, and he really enjoys that type of training and then the camaraderie from the team. But if that guy ever goes individual and, you know, maybe loses, I don't really know his body weight movement, so maybe he doesn't need to lose any weight. So
Yeah.
like you were talking about equilibrium,
Yeah.
you know, and kind of what's that optimal point for Sam? He
Right.
might be right there,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's so individual. It's like powerlifting.
Yeah, for
Everything's
me,
so individual.
Everybody tells me, you know, hey Ben, if you lost like 15 pounds, bro, you'd be so good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm 15 pounds. Like
Yeah.
I took 7th at regionals because of one workout.
Right.
Right.
You know, one workout. You take that workout out, and I'm in competition for.
Yeah, and I
third place.
guess you need to just look at like who you're chasing, you know, and what's common in the sport. You know, if you're 10 pounds heavier than everyone that's kicking ass,
Yeah, maybe.
then yeah, you got to
Yeah,
be
what's
like,
Khalipa?
oh shit, I need to watch
210, 215.
Yeah.
I think Khalipa. I think Jason's like around 215, 220.
I think that's what he told us.
You
Yeah.
know, he's got a thick back, thick arms. You know, his hands got like meat hooks for hands. You know, the guy's just big. You
He's
know?
jacked.
He is. And you know what the thing about, you know, your size, it's really important, is that you can make adjustments based on what the workout is. So if you look at a workout and it's like, oh, 30 muscle ups for time, and you're like, crap, I'm 15 pounds too heavy, you know, and automatically you go that route, and you're like, well, then probably you should be lighter because you're not ready for anything.
Defeatist
Right.
attitude.
You know, so
Is there ever a time with CrossFit where you ever just, you know, have you ever just said, you know what, this is it for the day? Like you did one workout, you try to do the next one, it's just not working. Do you ever stop yourself
I stop
and
myself
just say,
sometimes.
look, this just is not working for today. I need to just go home and chill.
Yeah, sometimes I do. A lot
I
of
think
times
you have
though,
to be able to do that, right?
yeah, but the thing is with CrossFit, the output is sometimes so much higher than any other sport. I think really out there after, you know, 3 days of competition, they're
Right.
actually these really technical, you know, heavyweight things or whatever. And so training when you're a little under the weather, it just kind of gets your mind, you know, so you go from training your body to training your mind.
Training your mind, yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
so that's kind of what I do. Like for me, I think I'm not really in as good a shape as a lot of people who are I'm in front of, because I'm just willing to go through a little bit more pain.
How do the CrossFit workouts compare to the MMA stuff you were doing?
Oh man, two different animals for sure. MMA is so taxing on your body, so taxing. I imagine it's like a little bit like pro wrestling. You're just taking hits and shots, and so you're getting weird feelings. I remember not being able to chew food because I got popped in the jaw. And it's like that feeling you can't close your jaw all the way because it hurts up on one side. And I remember in
Rocky, he says your face hurt, your eyes hurt, your ears hurt, and even your head, even your scalp hurts or something, or your hair. Because even your hair hurts.
Well, and the thing is I told a lot of my buddies who I used to train with, like Uriah Faber or Chad Mendez, that, hey, I'd love to train you guys now in CrossFit, because I think I can give you something that you don't really have in MMA fighting. But you're talking about like champions, right? So convincing them they need something else is not always the best thing to do.
Yeah, and it would be tough for them to do the same with people that are doing CrossFit. If they said, hey, man, if you came in and hit the bag and did burpees in between, and if they tried to convince them of that, it'd be difficult as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I potentially could be wrong, right? They're the best. Right. So they're the best.
That's what I usually say about CrossFit, too. I don't do CrossFit. Like, I'm around some CrossFitters, but I don't do it. Right. And my only affiliation with CrossFit is seeing, like, some of the best. I don't know, like, the tweeners and stuff. I don't really... I mean,
or a beginner.
Done some seminars and stuff, but I haven't really run into a lot of. I've run into people that are pretty exceptional.
Right.
So when people make fun of CrossFit, to me, it doesn't make sense, because I haven't seen, some of the douchebag stuff some people are talking about.
Yeah.
Well, if you try to draw pinpoint like correlations between the best of the best in like any sport, there are certain things, how they approach the sport, they work hard or whatever, but you can't, like, champions are weird. They tend to do weird stuff. They trying to convince Kendrick Ferris he needs a long warm-up when he's been doing a short warm-up for his whole life.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care what you say. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter who you are. And he's just like, hey, you need working your mobility, bro. He's like, this is what I do for my warm-up. I do this and this, bro, and then it's all good, It's all love, baby.
Let's bring this sucker in for a landing, in case anybody else has any more questions. Anybody?
Yeah, that was rude. I had a whole list going, but that's fine. I guess we're done.
You got to eat a shit sandwich.
I alluded to it a little bit, but I said I had a lot of fun at the NPFL Combine in Vegas, and a lot of people knew about the show. They knew about the gym. They knew Mark, whatever.
Yeah.
I was not an unknown quantity there, which was very, very cool for me, especially going in by myself without this guy. So that was pretty cool. I was actually very excited for how they're moving, and I think that all of fitness together is going to benefit from this. So
that was way too positive for the show.
I know.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I know. I'm sorry I had to be positive.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
I drove a Hummer here today so I could drive over the top of your Escalade.
Whose Hummer is that? I remember you.
I'm just going to say it's mine for the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
remember
mine.
You stole it from somebody.
I did.
The deadlift guy in your gym, the white, not the black guy, but the white guy, the construction
with the big
guy
biceps.
No, he's a chiropractor.
Oh, is he?
Oh, that guy's never touching me. He'll break my spine.
Isn't he like an older guy?
He is, but yeah, he's a chiropractor.
But he can't move himself.
I know. But he helps me move, and he can pull weight. So
a chiropractor that can't move, it's great.
Yeah, my truck broke down.
He can't turn his head because he's all jacked.
He gave me his Hummer, so I'm like, oh, cool.
Your rear end's broken down. Is what you're saying?
What's going on?
Wait, a chiropractor broke your rear end?
No.
Wait, what?
The rear end broke down on my truck.
Oh, okay.
And they said, hey, I have an extra Hummer laying around. Would you like to drive it while you get your car fixed? And I said no, and then he twisted my arm, popped it into place, and then I was like, cool, let's do it.
Sure. All right, well, the name of the gym is Iron Mile. It's in Natomas, I believe.
Yeah, Sacramento.
And Sacramento.
How do people find you?
People can find me on CrossFitIronMile.com. So you can just go to the gym website, and you can contact me through the contact info there. That all goes straight to my phone. My phone number's on there, and then you also have me on Instagram. So Iron Mile _Ben. So don't get tripped up by the underscore.
There you go, man. Well, it's great having you around Super Training. It's great training you. We have a lot of fun together, and it was good to be able to help your squat and your deadlift go way up, and watch you make some other improvements as well. And I really like how you bring the family around into your gym a lot. I think that's pretty cool. Watching your kids bounce around and hitting muscle ups and burpees and doing all kinds of.
Yeah, they're crazy.
One of your sons deadlifted like 115 pounds or
125 now, 6 years old.
Talk about
over double body weight.
Enhancement.
Over double body weight. Yeah, and he does freestanding handstand push-ups.
That's amazing.
One.
Oh my
but
God.
One
still.
Yeah. One more than me.
It's on my Instagram right now. It's my last post.
Awesome.
Excellent.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Multiply your Hustle and multiply your muscle, and may all your shits be tapered.
Goodbye.
Follow us on Twitter at STGymSack, Facebook/SuperTrainingGym, and we'll talk to you next time.
Subscribe to Power Magazine at thepowermagazine.com. If you choose the digital edition, you can catch up on all the great back issues, take your training to the next level with Slingshot products at howmuchyoubench.net, and look for BSN products including NO Explode at bodybuilding.com. Mark Bell's PowerCast is a production of supertraining.tv.